Hello and welcome to the FormIt Pro product briefing, where I'll present the current value and future investment in early stage design. My name is Heather Lech and I'm a product manager in the AEC design group with a focus on FormIt and early stage design. I'm also a licensed architect and have held various roles at Autodesk, including quality assurance, experienced designer, and product owner. It's my goal to help provide you with the software you need to innovate and excel in your jobs. In today's session, there are 4 learning objectives that I'll cover. First, discover the value of FormIt Pro for early stage design modeling. Second, realize how FormIt Pro contributes to workflows with other AEC Collections products like Revit and Autodesk Docs. Third, learn about the driving principles for future prioritization. And fourth, find out the future direction of early stage design and the roadmap for how we'll get there. The session is broken up into 3 sections. First, I'll talk about why early stage design is important. Next, I'll discuss the value of FormIt Pro today. And finally, I'll show you the future direction and walk you through the roadmap. Before I start, I want to remind you of Autodesk's Safe Harbor statement. I'll make statements about planned and future development efforts, and these statements are not intended to be a promise or guarantee of future availability. The planned and future development work may change without notice, and purchasing decisions should not be made based on these statements. And the statements I make today, as of AU 2021, may become out of date and may no longer contain current or accurate information. I want to begin the session by talking about the importance of early stage design. Decisions made in early stage design greatly influence cost and environmental impact of buildings throughout their life cycle. That means that decisions you make in early stage design during feasibility studies, programming, and schematic and conceptual design need to be based on thorough data resulting in informed decisions. The McClamey curve is a popular way to describe the importance of early decision making and has been circulating the AEC industry for some time. It's attributed to Patrick McClamey, a former CEO of HOK. His diagram shows how the cost of design changes grows exponentially when made later in the process, and how the ability to control cost and make changes is considerably greater earlier on in design. And architects and designers know that it costs less to make decisions earlier, and that data-backed decisions made earlier provide more value to the client. And why is this important? We know the stakes are high. Global warming is affecting all of us. NASA concluded that the years 2016 and 2020 were tied for the hottest years on record. The annual CO2 emission rate has gone up 6-fold from 6 billion metric tons of CO2 in 1950 to 36 billion metric tons in 2019. And according to Architecture 2030, buildings account for nearly 40% of all greenhouse gas emissions. And all of this is leading us to a climate crisis. Additionally, more than half of the current global population is concentrated in cities, and by 2060, it's predicted that 2/3 of the total population, which will be about 10 billion, will be living in cities. That means there'll be about 7 billion plus people living in cities. To account for the population growth and move to cities, we need to build an average of 13,000 buildings per day for the next 30 years. In addition to global factors, we know the building industry is under additional pressure with smaller budgets and accelerated timelines, which means it's critical to make decisions faster and with fewer errors and costly late changes. So while we know buildings are a major cause of climate change, it's not realistic to stop building buildings given the rise in population, causing a need for more housing and more infrastructure. At Autodesk and on the FormIt team, we believe that our software is a tool that's primary purpose is to help you design better buildings. And software can and should help you design better buildings, which will help with both the growing population and the climate crisis. Autodesk and FormIt have a mission to support designers and architects by combining intelligent automation and informed analysis with fluid 3D sketching so you can design better buildings. So how does FormIt Pro support architects and designers in their pursuit of better buildings? FormIt Pro is a fluid 3D sketching environment that provides a seamless connection from concept design to BIM for less rework. It uses data and analysis for informed design exploration, and it provides a collaborative work environment so that the project team can share data with ease. And we'll take a look at each of these three capabilities in more detail. First, let's talk about how FormIt enables you to move from conceptual design to BIM with less rework, saving time and money. New in the 2022 release is the ability to launch FormIt directly from Revit with the 3D Sketch tool on Revit's Massing and Site tab. Use FormIt to model in an intuitive fluid sketching environment, then click the Send to Revit button to bring the new design into Revit. This video shows the one-click workflow of moving seamlessly between Revit and FormIt in one user session. And one example in this video is of an urban context that's already modeled in Revit, and the architect wants to explore a new building on an empty lot. Along with FormIt geometry, FormIt materials, including texture map and any material scaling or rotation, will transfer to Revit and are accessible from Revit's materials dialog box. You can also explore a specific piece of a design like signage on the top of a building. When the design is ready to share, select it and click Send to Revit, and only the selected elements will transfer to Revit. A third workflow shows taking a small section of an existing building and exploring an interior modification to the reception area. First, the designer uses a section box in Revit to define the portion of the model that's relevant. Then they click the 3D Sketch button to bring the model into FormIt. Once in FormIt, the designer can explore forms like a custom reception desk or ceiling panels, and they can make rapid design changes, add materials, then send the geometry back to Revit for further evaluation in the larger building context. In Revit, they can continue to explore the design, and they can navigate in context and use realistic views to study materials, sunlight, and shadows. Alternatively, you can import a FormIt AXM file into Revit using the standard import CAD workflow from Revit's Insert tab. Use this workflow to share FormIt models with colleagues, or use the import workflow to bring FormIt geometry into a Revit massing family to access the by face tools and mass floors for element mapping. In this example, I import FormIt into Revit and explore three design options for the roof of the building. Since the layers are set up in FormIt, they transfer to Revit with the imported geometry, and I can control layer visibility to set up views and see my roof design options in context. Sometimes I develop a model further in FormIt, focusing on materiality. And since all FormIt materials transfer to Revit, I can use Revit's realistic visual style to walk through the model in real time without needing to edit materials in Revit. I simply import the AXM model and set the visual style of the view to realistic. And this is a great way to walk clients through a design with real-time visualization. The second capability I'll review is informed design. FormIt has built-in analysis tools so that right from the start you can assess the environmental impact of your building and create custom design analyses using Dynamo computation. FormIt is a data-rich modeling environment. Setting the location allows you to get real-time weather data from local weather stations, which can be used for shadow studies, solar heat gain analysis, and for energy optimization with Insight Energy. Once a location is set, you can use the Sun Editor to evaluate shadows and study the impact of existing building shadows on your site. Either use the In-Canvas widget to move the sun location, or enter a specific date and time from the pull-down menu. Next, start a solar analysis study to evaluate solar radiation. Start by selecting relevant faces you want to study in more detail. In this example, I'm selecting panels on the roof and the curtain system on one facade. You can choose to look at solar heat gain as a year cumulative value or as a monthly peak. Year cumulative can help determine if photovoltaic panels would be a good addition to the roof. Monthly peak can help evaluate the need for sun shading devices on large glazed areas. By hovering over a spot, you can get a specific readout of a solar heat gain. And finally, you can send a FormIt massing study to Insight Energy Analysis to study energy use intensity, or EUI, and provide benchmarks against standards like ASHRAE 90.1 and the 2030 challenge goals. After generating an insight, you can access the Insight website directly from FormIt and explore how various factors affect the energy use of the building. Choose to explore the HVAC system, window-to-wall ratio, roof construction, operating schedule, and more by adjusting each factor and reviewing the change to EUI or cost per area. Each card turns over to give you options. Use the slider to be more specific in your values for a given factor and immediately see how it will change the overall energy use of the building. FormIt's built-in environmental analysis means more data at your fingertips for design exploration and informed decision-making. Analysis in early-stage design can also take the shape of rapid design exploration with the help of automation and customization. This video shows several Dynamo graphs that ship as samples in FormIt windows. What's great about these samples is that they're fully controlled from inside the FormIt interface. There's no need to open or learn Dynamo to take advantage of the power of basic computational design in FormIt. You can run a graph by placing it in the model, then selecting the resulting geometry and adjust parameters that are already set up in the Dynamo graph. Edit the parameters, then click Run to generate the new design. One out-of-the-box sample generates a curtain system for quick layouts of glazing on the facade. Adjust the width, the vertical and horizontal mullion spacing, and starting location to start to indicate glazing patterns on your schematic model. Additionally, you can create a conceptual stair in seconds and adjust it based on factors like width, floor-to-floor height, landing width, and more. All of the Dynamo-generated forms can have materials applied. They can convert from meshes to objects and back to meshes, and they'll translate to Revit as solid geometry. Using these Dynamo samples allows designers to take advantage of the power of computation to generate designs quickly. The designer in FormIt can rely on Dynamo for modeling efficiency while remaining fully in control of the design. For more advanced computational workflows, use FormIt's Dynamo integration as well as its JavaScript API to customize design exploration and analysis. Here, a custom Dynamo script is used to drive the shape of the south facade. In this example, there's a path along the ground that acts as a guideline. It dictates the shape of the facade. I edit the path by deleting the current faceted lines and replace them with a single smooth curve. Then I select each facade component, like the floor plates, the glazing, the louvers, and the mullions. Click Run to rerun the graphs, and a new curved facade is generated in seconds. You can explore dozens of design options quickly using this method, and keep track of your design options using FormIt's layers and scenes. Next is an example of a workflow using the new Watch Node capabilities released in FormIt 2022. This example shows a Dynamo graph that's calculating percent glazing of a face. Designers can set the target percent glazing and immediately see if the current design is in compliance with the goal. In Dynamo, make sure the output nodes are set to isOutput, and the data will display in FormIt's Properties palette. Explore design options by editing the window sizes and rerunning the graph to evaluate the new design. Informed design with both environmental analysis and computational analysis provide more data points earlier on in the design process and these capabilities are available to you now with the latest FormIt 2022. The third capability I'll review is FormIt's connection to the Autodesk Cloud for collaborative data sharing. FormIt is part of the Autodesk ecosystem, and FormIt models can be saved and shared in projects on the Autodesk Construction Cloud, along with the rest of the project information, so it's accessible by the whole team from any location. It's worth noting that FormIt also has a built-in collaboration environment that allows multiple people to work in the same FormIt model at once. So one person could be at the site working on the model from an iPad or FormIt Web, while another architect is working in FormIt on her desktop in the office, and they can all access the same model from Autodesk Docs. FormIt models can be directly saved and opened from Autodesk Docs, and you can use the Docs viewer for markups and issue tracking. Assigning issues allows you to set and track deadlines, assign owners, fill in a description, and add a site photo. FormIt layers can be accessed on Autodesk Docs viewer for additional visibility control. You can also share a link with a client or consultant so they can view, explore, and mark up the design model. FormIt Pro has strong capabilities with solid modeling and environmental analysis to help drive better decisions earlier in the design process, and its value multiplies with the connection to computational design and analysis for automation. It also includes BIM for detailed design and Autodesk Docs for collaboration. Now let's talk about what's next for FormIt Pro in early stage design and lay out a roadmap for how we'll get there. We have 3 key areas of investment which the team has worked on over the last few years and will continue to focus on this coming year. First, we'll continue to connect workflows across the Autodesk portfolio. Second, we'll further inform design with analysis and compute. And third, we'll continue to collaborate with shared data on the Autodesk Cloud. Throughout all 3 of these investment areas, we'll concentrate on providing the best capabilities for early stage design by advancing workflows and shared services throughout the portfolio. Let's take a look at that roadmap for each area of investment. First, let's talk about connecting workflows across the Autodesk portfolio. As part of the Autodesk ecosystem, we recognize the importance of a seamless exchange of data between project phases. This saves time, money, and means more design exploration faster, leading to better outcomes. And we're working to create a seamless experience between early stage design and detailed design and construction in Revit to prevent rework when moving between project phases. We recently released improvements in this area in the 2022 release, like I showed earlier. We plan to expand iterative design capabilities with a link and update workflow, so any modeling changes you make in FormIt will update in Revit, and will continue to move between an early stage design model and a detailed model in Revit with one click. Additionally, we plan to enhance element mapping between FormIt and Revit, so that, for example, a vertical surface in FormIt's concept model automatically maps to a Revit wall system family. This may initially take the form of an enhanced by-phase tool that maps many elements at once and tracks changes, and eventually we'll explore how we can get smarter at element mapping with rules-based association between elements, which can be customized for each project. Next, let's dig deeper into informed design with analysis and compute utilizing Dynamo and plugins. The Dynamo integration with FormIt has come a long way in the last year. We've introduced a selection node, a live connection, faster reruns, watch nodes, and more. All of this enhances the use of computation to drive early stage design, and we continue to focus on this initiative with an emphasis on customization. We'll do this by exposing more of FormIt's JavaScript API as Dynamo nodes so that design technologists can create custom graphs for project-specific needs. For example, the image in the bottom left shows a custom plugin built to track shadows across a site. The time intervals are customizable, so shadows can be tracked hourly across a day, or across a month or a year. As we expose more of the API through Dynamo nodes, more design technologists can take advantage of FormIt and Dynamo to customize their analysis needs. We'll continue to emphasize analysis capabilities in early stage design, like what you see now in FormIt and in the recently acquired SpaceMaker. Architects and engineers should be able to understand the implications of design decisions as they're modeling, so that they can always be working towards their desired outcomes. We plan to build on the analysis web services in SpaceMaker to provide persistent, out-of-the-box analysis feedback at the speed of design. These analysis services solve common problems and will also be customizable to project-specific needs. With these tools, designers and architects will be able to define goals up front, compare alternative scenarios, and track impacts to find the best design solution in less time. The third theme is to continue to support the Autodesk Cloud. We want to ensure a single source of truth, starting with early stage design work, and including all project data so that teams work efficiently, consistently, and securely. Recent work in this area has been the ability to host FormIt's content library on the Autodesk Cloud, and we ensure permissions keep your data secure and accessible. Our next steps are to share and access more FormIt data on the Autodesk Cloud and to support better collaboration. We're currently working on ensuring the one-click workflow that uses the 3D Sketch button in Revit to launch FormIt directly from Revit works with BIM Collaborate or Revit Cloud Work Sharing. Additionally, we want more FormIt data accessible in the Autodesk Cloud, things like FormIt scenes to control design options and attributes of FormIt groups or individual objects. More data in the Autodesk Cloud, accessed through one digital model, means more services can extract data for workflows like feasibility studies, estimating, phasing, and more. And eventually the whole project team can collaborate on one model in one centralized cloud database. We continue to prioritize performance and scalability too. In the past release, we significantly improved model performance for navigation, selection, and editing, making some of those actions up to 20 and 30 times faster. In FormIt 2022, we significantly sped up the time it takes to import FormIt models into Revit, while also improving quality and reliability. Next, we plan to scale FormIt to more geographic locations by localizing it to 14 languages. So for example, if you access FormIt from the 3D Sketch button in a Japanese install of Revit, FormIt will also launch in Japanese. Along with localization of the product, we'll also localize the documentation and tutorials. And we're also working on improving the performance of shadows, and we'll continue to work on modeling performance both in FormIt for Windows and FormIt for Web. With our 3 areas of investment, we continue to support you with the tools that help address high stakes like global warming and population growth. By connecting workflows across the Autodesk portfolio and by using computational design, we hope to make design exploration more efficient and iterative so you can design better buildings in less time. Informing design with analysis and compute will help you and your clients make better choices around energy use and the environmental impact of your design. And collaborating and sharing data on the Autodesk Cloud will open up more services and better access to your data so you can make smarter decisions in the early stage design process. This is an image from the New York Times showing surface smoke as a result of the wildfires in the US over the summer. When I was creating this presentation, I was really feeling the effects of the smoke from these wildfires. There have been poor air quality alerts, and my eyes have been dry and itchy and irritated. Most of the wildfires in the US are on the West Coast, and it's impacting me, and I live all the way on the East Coast of the US near Boston, where this green dot on the map is. It made me think about the impact the climate change as a result of global warming is having here in the US. Over the summer, almost half of the US was considered to be in drought conditions. And drought conditions mean more risk of wildfires, and the effects of those wildfires are not only devastating to the immediate region, causing evacuations and forest and habitat destruction, but those effects are felt thousands of miles away, like for me in Boston. Those of us in the AEC industry can make positive impacts even in small ways to reduce the effects of global warming and reduce devastating consequences like droughts and wildfires. By using the software that's available to us that helps inform our designs, we can make smarter decisions about the buildings we design. We can reduce energy use intensity, reducing greenhouse gas emissions. And the key is we have the environmental analysis tools and the data available to us right now through FormIt and other Autodesk software. So we really can make a positive impact. Thanks for joining the session today, and you can learn more about FormIt Pro and how it supports architects so you can design better buildings by going to FormIt's website, formit.autodesk.com. And you can learn more about Autodesk's commitment to sustainability at autodesk.com/sustainability. Again, thank you for attending, and I hope to see you in person one day soon.